What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. So I was watching Pels Wolves this morning, and it was a really interesting game because it was close early, but then the Pelicans just completely dominated in the second quarter. CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram are both absolutely cooking in pick and roll right now, so those guys were going off. They were defending extremely well. They had Anthony Edwards frustrated and complaining at the refs. Karl Anthony Towns was taking one-leg fadeaways. The Minnesota's got some personnel shortcomings too when it comes to off-ball shooting, which has been a big problem in their half-court offense, but they ended up running away with the win. As a matter of fact, the Pelicans held the Wolves under 25 points, or 25 points or fewer in each of the first three quarters as they ran away. It was actually one of the more impressive wins of the season when you figure it was on the road in Minnesota. So I figured it was time to check on the Pels because since getting their ass kicked in the in-season tournament game against the Lakers, they are 9-3 and have avenged that loss to the Lakers. They are 6th in offense, 2nd in defense, 2nd in net rating, and 2nd in rebounding percentage. And I want to start on the defensive end of the floor. And it really just comes down to them being excellent in three key phases. They're excellent at the point of attack, they're excellent in backside rotation, and they're excellent on the defensive glass. And when I say backside rotation, that's help, that's defensive rebounding, that's rotating when the ball, when the defense is compromised and you're kind of in like a kind of a chaos situation. They have athletes and they communicate really well. Brandon Ingram in particular has been so good as a help side defender this year. I think he's having one of his better defensive seasons of his career. But specifically what's interesting to me about it is Jonas Valanciunas is not a very good defensive player. And it kind of reminds me of Denver in the sense that like what they have bracketed around him with the point of attack in their backside rotations kind of makes the whole thing work, especially when you factor in that they're cleaning up the glass. And again, it comes down to some of that backside athleticism too. You know, when we look at Denver, guys like Michael Porter Jr. and Peyton Watson, in addition to Aaron Gordon as the low man, go a long way towards making that whole thing work. And there's just always so much length and athleticism on the floor for the Pelicans. And I think it's the primary driving force behind their defensive foundation. On the offensive end of the floor, over this 12-game span, CJ McCollum, Zion Williamson, and Brandon Ingram are all averaging over 20 points per game very efficiently. Zion's up over 60% from the field. Thanks to those three guys in particular, the Pelicans have been the 6th most productive isolation attack in the league. Brandon Ingram in particular is getting 1.14 points per isolation possession, including passes. There are 26 players in the league that have attempted at least 100. Brandon Ingram's at number 6 right now. Still love his combination of over-the-top shot making, and he's always been one of the better playmakers at his position group. I talked in the game breakdown a little bit about their pick and roll attack in the second quarter. And both CJ and Brandon Ingram have been excellent pick and roll players all season. Brandon Ingram's at 1.05 points per possession. CJ McCollum's at 1.03. It's the most common play type in the NBA, so pretty much anything over 1 is good. There are 67 players in the league to run at least 100. Brandon Ingram and CJ are 24th and 27th, respectively. Trey Murphy is shooting 45% from 3 on 6 attempts per game during this 12-game stretch. Then I want to shout out Jonas Valanciunas because, like, obviously we've talked some about his defensive limitations, but he's having an awesome offensive season. He's been one of the best post-up players in the league. 1.13 points per possession, including passes, 6th out of 23 players to attempt at least 100 post-ups to this point. And then he's become a super important part of the Pels pick and roll attack. He's got a really good, pick and pop and pocket pass chemistry with Brandon Ingram. As a matter of fact, Jonas Valanciunas is converting roll man possessions at 1.38 points per possession, which is outstanding. That is 2nd in the NBA among players to attempt at least 75. There's 20 players that qualify, and he ranks 2nd. And then the last guy I wanted to shout out was Jose Alvarado, Just such a useful role player off the ball in particular. He's an absolute menace at the point of attack. 2.3 steals per 36 minutes so far this season. He's really aggressive up underneath players. He's got a low center of gravity, slides his feet well, beats players to spots. He disrupts the basketball, still getting people with that sneak attack. But he's also a very good offensive player off the ball. He converts spot-up possessions at 1.09 points per possession. and is shooting 62% in effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot jumpers. And you can see it on the scoreboard. The Pelicans are 13 points per 100 possessions better with him on the floor versus off, which is the second best mark on the team behind Trey Murphy. So shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's see if they can keep up this level of play over the rest of the season.